What's up, guys? And today we're going to do. This is probably like the 10th time I'm doing a TF2 weapons tier list. And if I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people might definitely be upset about what I'm going to say, especially if it's an honest tier list. So yeah, let's just go. Let's just get this over with. I've already put in the S tier. It's these two weapons, Scattergun and Soda Popper. These weapons are supreme, and nothing else is going to top these. Right? I won't accept any other option for primaries. So, that aside, let's talk about these tiers themselves before we actually do the ranking. A is a very versatile. A just means the weapon is extremely versatile. It will get you places all the time. Of course, they're not the supreme weapons like the S tier, but hey, they'll still do a lot for you, even despite the drawbacks they'll have. And of course, B tier weapons that are like relatively situational, they can definitely have use cases, but it depends on what you're trying to do. So so either they're average or situational. And then C tier is weapons that aren't necessarily bad, but they're either really situational or just outclassed. Then the D tier is like only like two weapons are going to be in this because they're extremely pointless and you'd rather use something else. So that's the brief explanation of these tiers. So just want to make this really short. So let's start Atomizer, like C tier, because well, yes, it has the triple jump, but like other weapons already are good at jumping. You've got the wing, which which increases your jump height. But then you also have the Fan War, which lets you do the fan jump. So you basically get a triple jump without needing the Atomizer. And of course, the Atomizer does also less damage against players, even with the mini crit. So yeah, in general, Atomizer gets outclassed. We're just gonna put it in C tier. Then the Babyface Blaster. I don't know. It's an interesting kind of weapon. It's like the Golden Fox in F-Zero, where I mean, you know, like I've already said that F-Zero's Golden Fox is a glass cannon. It's got good boosts, but shitty durability and grip. So that's kind of what I feel like when I see the Babyface Blaster. You get the boost, which lets you run super fast, but you have to be careful not to double jump, and any damage you take is gonna drain pretty much all your boost. It may as well be one damage will take like a crap ton of your boost away. So yeah, if you can play your cards right, then the Babyface Blaster won't be any trouble, even if again it's 4 rounds. But hey, I like Babyface Blaster. It's different kind of playstyle that surprisingly works if you play your cards right. Okay, the Backscatter. This is also gonna be outclassed. Now, while it is a primary compared to Atomizer, I still think there's better options personally. I mean, yeah, it's got the mini crit on backshots, but that's like very situational in my opinion. So there's really just not a reason to use Backscatter if you have anything else, unless you're like doing extreme certain playstyles, which depending on the map, you're not gonna do that. So that's why Backscatter is outclassed. And the Stock Bat, pointless. We're just gonna say, I'm not gonna rename these actually. I don't want to be too much like Chris Titus. But yeah, Stock Bat, while it doesn't have any damage reduction, the Boston Basher also doesn't have damage reduction and has bleed. So, and of course, Scout Melees do the lowest damage, so this is not practical for damage at all. So, you try to whip a bat at a medic, then, well, that medic is going to random crit you with his Uber Saw, and you do not want that happening. So, yeah, and the main gimmick of Scout's Melees is to offer utility, which started with the whole purpose of the Sandbat, at least, you know, before Jungle Inferno crippled that thing. But of course, Scout does not get any utility when he uses Stock Bat, so that's why it's a pointless weapon and you should never use it. Okay, then we got the Bonk. I don't know if I would put this above or below Babyface. I'm gonna say, like, I don't know, they're both equal. So bonk can allow for like I'd say it's more useful for like attack, defend, and payload, and even then mainly if you're on like offense. It's mainly if you're trying to like either get behind enemy lines and just pick everyone down one by one then, or to just distract sentries so that your soldier or heavy whatever take them down easily. Which these are definitely strategies that can work if your team's coordinated enough. So that's why I'd say, of course, I wouldn't say that would be extremely powerful because, of course, if you're playing casual, then team coordination is going to be hit and miss. Which, I mean, that's the same for any other game for that matter, but you know, TF2 being a game where you're mostly playing the casual mode and thereby goofing around, and not like CS2 where it's all competitive craziness. Then yeah, Bonk can be hit and miss. From most of my experience, it does work. So I'm gonna just leave it there. And then we got the Boston Basher. People say this is the best scout melee because it's the only one that doesn't have damage reduction, but it also includes bleed. But then you got the problem is that, well, being a melee, you cannot miss because you will take otherwise self-damage if you do miss. So yeah, it's definitely a tricky weapon. Of course, the bleed can definitely work for comboing or, you know, let an enemy just die in case they kill you. But that doesn't always happen, so I'm gonna just put this like high B. I know that might make some people upset, but whatever. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But don't worry, it's a high B tier. It's, you know, any other weapon I put in B tier will be below this. Alright, we got the Candy Cane. Again, it's the same problem as Atomizer, it just gets outclassed. Where, yes, the health pack on drop can help, but if there's like one soldier, one demo, just forget about it. Use something else, because you'll take extra explosive damage. So that means demos are gonna basically one-shot you now, when otherwise you'd be left with 25 health at the worst. Well, if they get one successful hit, but of course 2, you're dead. So, yeah, so this is probably the most situational scout melee. If there's like no soldier or demo on the enemy team, which is just not going to happen, then yeah, the health pack on drop can help, but you already have Mad Milk or Perturbate's pocket pistol, so I don't see why which they can give way more health, so I don't see why you'd want this. Okay, I don't understand. Okay, now we got the Criticola. I'd say, you know what, actually, I'll give this high B tier. I'll give it above the Boston Basher. So this one also can be situational. So it turns you into a bit of a glass cannon. And, so basically you'll deal mini crits, but you also take mini crits because you get marked for death. So if you're careful enough, then yes, this can be extremely good. Of course, because it's on cooldown, it's not really going to go super high, but hey, you know what? I think Critical is very decent if you use it correctly. Like, if you especially pair it with, like, the shortstop, you're pretty unstoppable at, like, mid-range. At least until a sniper comes at you. Okay, the Fanowar. This is kind of mainly for MVM, but even in vanilla TF2, I don't know, wrong choice of words, it can still be extremely useful. You can mark an enemy, and even if they kill you, well, that enemy will be marked, and then someone else can finish them off. So, yeah, the Fanowar, way more useful than you'd think, outside of funny-ass combos you can do. So it really can help for enemies finishing off anyone that could have otherwise killed you, so yeah, definitely great support option, and especially great in MVM and versus Saxon Halo, because marking the most important enemies is the most important thing you can do as Scout in those two modes. Okay, then we got the Flying Guillotine. This is also extremely versatile because it's long-range bleed. This could be worthy advocate for S tier, but you know, because it's a secondary, you're not going to use it extremely a lot because of its recharge. Even though, yes, the recharge is relatively fast, again, it's But hey, it's versatile. It does extreme damage on hit, and of course the bleed will basically just make any enemy just flat out try to run away from you. So even heavies as well. And if you especially pair it with Rap Assassin, you are basically going to be unstoppable. If you, of course, unless you miss, that is. Yeah. So then the Force of Nature, this is also effective for a Scattergun. Again, could be worthy advocate for S tier, but I personally don't think it's S tier worthy because, well, yes, it knocks back enemies at the same time. Well, what could have been just a 2-hit, otherwise probably wouldn't be because, well, the enemy will go flying away on your first hit, and then the second hit will not be as effective. I mean, yeah, sure, you can push enemy out of an otherwise good position, which is also handy, I guess, but you'd probably want to have any of the pistols on you in that case if you want to finish off your enemy. And of course the pushback also allows for mobility as well, the fan jump mainly, which is more or less Scout's version of rocket jumping. So yeah, it's really the utility you get with the Force of Nature compared to combat. I mean, yeah, it's good at fighting, but again, that knockback can mess you up. But hey, the mobility additions you get from this are huge. That's why it's going in high A for me. Okay, Mad Milk, also A tier. So again, it, like any other weapons, could be worthy of S tier, but the Mad Milk does recharge pretty slowly, so you're not gonna. It's obviously not super spammable, but hey, but because you can just throw it at a bunch of enemies and then let your team heal off of it, just makes it such a very awesome tool for support. So hey, that's why it'll be high A tier. I mean, is it above or below the Flying Guillotine? I'm gonna just say they're both equal. It really depends what you want. Either you're a supportive scout or you're a destructive scout. Yeah, the Flying Guillotine's a weapon of mass destruction. How cool is that? Okay, the stock pistol, pretty A tier, I would say, because it's 12 shots, so it's got pretty good DPS. So yeah, this is just your main weapon for finishing off targets in case you run out of scattergun or soda popper shots. Because pulling your pistol out's faster than a reload. So yeah, that's why I'll put this in A tier. I mean, it doesn't offer anything special. Of course, the winger doesn't let you jump high, and the Pretty Blaze Pocket Pistol doesn't give health on hit. But hey, 12 shots is a reasonable upside over the other two pistols. Alright, then Elisa's do the Pretty Blaze Pocket Pistol, definitely A tier. To me, it's kind of like the middle point between Flying Guillotine and Mad Milk. So as I've already said, the Mad Milk's for healing, the Flying Guillotine's for death. So yeah, life and death. I don't know if my cursor's on, but whatever. And meanwhile, the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol is basically the middle point between a life weapon and a death weapon. So that's why it's definitely high A, because of course you can damage enemies, but you'll heal when you damage them. So yeah, this is definitely the secondary I prefer the most because of that balance it has. Alright, then we got the Sandman. Again, pointless. I mean, yeah, if we were doing this tier list in before Jungle Inferno, and especially the servers, I cannot say the name of it for obvious reasons, then yeah, it would be the best weapon because of its stun in S tier, but right now, no, because the ball only slows you, but doesn't even slow that much. And of course, it reduces your base health, so this is a weapon that just does more harm than good. And that's why it's pointless. You'd rather use something else. Okay, shortstop. High A or low A? High B or low B or low A? I'd say high B, cause sure it's good for mid-range scout in unison with the pistols or the Criticola, but but the damage on it is kind of weak. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's like 100% a tool for like against pyros or whatever, but hey, in the right hands, this can definitely be more effective. It really depends on what you're doing. So that's why I'd say it's kind of situational, but for the most part, the ups seem to outweigh the downs on this one. Now, I more or less use this one in 100% crits, but of course that's just about community servers. But for casual, hey, I'd say that it's good. I mean, not as good as like Force of Nature or whatever, but hey, it's still better than the Babyface Blaster. Let's be real. Okay, Sun on a Stick, again, outclassed. Like, these are the three melees that are outclassed. Because, I mean, like, yes, the Sun Stick offers protection, offers fire resistance, but, like, you know, if you have a Mad Milk with you, then you can just put out the fire. And, of course, you could put out other teammates that are on fire, so that's also useful. And, of course, if you know where med packs are, then, yes, the fire resistance is basically going to do nothing that helpful. Like, yeah, maybe it gives you a little more leeway, but still, if you're really low health while you're on fire, then you'd die anyway, so the fire resistance doesn't really help. And, it can deal extra damage to burning enemies, but you'd have to be coordinated with your pyro in order to do that, which in casual is not 100% likely. So, yeah, I would call this pointless, but the fire resistance might probably help. Yeah, well, I'm gonna just put it like extreme. I'm just gonna put this like a real balance between C and D, but yeah, it may as well be a pointless, but you might probably benefit from the fire resistance. Like, if you don't have a Mad Milk with you, so whatever. Let's move on. Right, the Winger, also high B. Actually, I'd probably put this below the, yeah, probably below the Boston Basher. So the DPS on the Winger is weak because it's only 5 rounds, and, well, yeah, even if it does have the damage boost, it's still only 5 shots. So it's really more of a burst fire kind of weapon, which, yes, that's the same motive as the Soda Popper, but you know, the Soda Popper does extreme 104 meat shot damage. So yeah, why would I want the Winger? I mean, of course, the jump height can also help too. I'd say more effective than the Atomizer. But then again, if you have Force of Nature, well, it's not really a reason to use a different jump option. So, yeah, Winger, yeah, Winger situational. And the last weapon, the Rap Assassin, that's going in, like, I'd say right here, because yes, it can do the bleed like the Flying Guillotine, but, you know, the initial impact just isn't as strong, so this is definitely more of a comboing kind of weapon, in my opinion. So yeah, on its own, not that effective, so that's why it won't be as high, but then again, because you get a ranged bleed option, aside from the Flying Guillotine, then that's what makes it super effective, even if the Rap Assassin itself does extremely bad damage. But yeah, Rap Assassin, it's versatile. It's really versatile. This is my favorite scout melee by choice. So yeah, it's like a hybrid between the Sandman and the Boston Basher. It just takes best of both worlds, because obviously you have a throwable projectile, which is what the Sandman also does, but that projectile will do bleed, which thankfully will not self-damage you. So it's a safer and more versatile Boston Basher, in my opinion. And then with that, yeah, that's the Scout Weapons tier list, and I know I know some people may not agree with these, but it's an honest tier list, so I don't know what you people are expecting. So, yeah, that's all. So, yeah, I know it was a little quick video. It was Okay, only 20 minutes. So, yeah, that's the Scout Weapons tier list. My newest one, at least. Will I make a new one? I don't know. But that's it, really. Thanks for watching.